Well, hey there, and welcome to Surprise Me, Joel, with your host, Joel Zeslowski. My mind is feeling particularly cheerful right now. What about you? Well, would you look at that? I'm pushing double-digit episodes in this show, and although I'm about 120 episodes away from matching what I published in my original podcast, I'm feeling pretty dang fine about where things stand. I'm also feeling pretty dang groovy about having your time and attention right now. So, hey, thanks a whole bunch for that. Super cool of you. I invited my fantastic friend, Apryl Schlueter, to chat with me for this episode. And boy, howdy, did we have fun. You're going to have fun too listening to this one. I sincerely hope you have people in your life like Apryl that you could just be silly, be real with, and talk about just about anything since you have such varied experiences and interests. You might already be imagining, all right, cut to the chase. What did you actually talk about? Well, how about why retirement can feel like shame instead of freedom? Although I might regret this one, I told the story behind my skimpy walk around the neighborhood that summoned the police. Yeah. We also explored why regularly thinking about death can make you live better, how letting go of planning can actually simplify your life, and why April's smiling to talking ratio says more than words do. Just a quick note, I had my windows open when I recorded this conversation, and you'll hear some gentle wind in the background. Yeah, consider it authentic ambiance. I also didn't try to get any of the flaws in post-production editing this time because of a promise I made to Apryl at the end of this episode. I will not delay anymore. Here we go. Welcome, Apryl. Shall we wander in conversation together?
I love it. Let's do it. I am so ready for this, and I have needed some good conversation. So let's
Need it?
go.
Yeah? Why?
Yeah.
Start with
Yeah.
that. You've needed some good conversations.
Oh
You
my
know a
gosh.
lot of amazing humans. I have trouble believing that there's a dearth of cool conversations in your life, but
No,
I'm wrong.
I do have so many good conversations. I think that this year in particular, I have been so focused on work, and a lot of my work is talk. So there's good conversations, but my social life has definitely taken a hit, and I consider you one of my dear friends, so that is why when I actually have the time to sit and chat with a friend, I will take that as much as possible, and to just do it to have a conversation with you, to connect, and also just to give people something that they can take away, hopefully, from this conversation, which is a surprise to both you and me.
Oh, really? I'm not the only one with surprises and surprise me,
Yes.
Joel, huh? That's fair.
Yes.
I like
The
that.
topic is surprise.
Oh,
We're gonna see where that goes. I just made that up right now because, surprise.
okay.
I didn't wanna come with a plan, and so we'll improvise a little bit.
Way to stick with a theme. I
Yeah.
definitely think of you and improvise in the same sentence, whether it's improv comedy or just improv dance or improv things. That is one of many, many things that I know about you. And as my multi-potentialite friend, there are many different facets and many different places that we could go. You mentioned pivoting, tilting. Maybe there's other words that you would say towards businessy stuff and work stuff this year. And we spoke, I don't know, geez, it was probably like eight-ish months ago since the last time we spoke. So the mental picture that I have of you in my mind may be horribly out of date. So maybe you can update me a little bit in real time. Why this year? Is it a reflection of your children getting old enough that you have less responsibilities as the mom role in your life? Or what is it that makes you say, I'm going to thrust myself more into this than I have in the past?
A little bit. I think with my kids being older, and my oldest son is going to be a incoming senior in high school. My younger son is gonna be a sophomore. Of course, I have been working very hard to slowly let go of the grip that is being a try not to be a helicopter mom. And I think that, last year was the first year that my sons were driving themselves to school. And I was like, what am I going to do with these extra 2 hours a day of my time? So, with that, I felt this opportunity to really dig into some things that I was working on in my business. And I was just super excited. And it's funny because as this year has gone on, work has really picked up. It's almost like I opened the doors and then the floodgates. They're like, "You wanna do more work? Let's give you more work."
Right on.
And then
Psh, there's your double high five for that.
to maybe the point that I couldn't keep up with myself. But, it's all good. I think what's transpired in the last 8 months since we last chatted, so I did launch a podcast last year, and I was super, super excited. I do work with, some other companies as well. So I did have some new projects and new clients come on board, which means that I have a lot of work on my plate, but it's all different stuff. As a multi potential, I would do like I'm doing consulting for this one client. I do coaching for this one company. And then I have my own coaching clients, and then I run my own community. And I've been working on this podcast, which is linked to a book. So have a lot of my hands in the fire. I did also in the last 8 months hire somebody to help me with marketing because as much as I want to put out good content, editing, and I learned this from running the podcast, when I edit something, I am very meticulous about it, so much to the point that it slows down the entire process, but I am not willing to give that up. But when it comes to social media and other types of marketing or just even sharing with people what I'm doing, I can get very overwhelmed with my own work. So to have somebody who's kind of looking out for me to be like, what do you want to talk about? And it is a mix of sharing things that are going on in my life, but also what I'm doing in work. And so bringing somebody on board to help me in that partnership has been so fun, but it's also more work that I didn't have last year. And so I kind of maybe overdid it.
Hmm.
Something that I do. But I really like what I'm doing. And then I have other volunteer work that I'm doing. I have been very active in the choir theater patron organization for our high school. And I took on a role recently to be the treasurer of their organization. So now I'm diving into money and spreadsheets and all that stuff. So I'm just doing a lot of stuff and I'm just trying not to uh, lose my cool or hit that burnout point. But yeah, lots of things going on. And then my role and my most important role being a parent and a mom and making sure that my kid knows what he needs to do to get himself into college. That's a journey in itself, trying to navigate the emotions of my kid's going to be leaving the nest
Yeah.
soon. So
Yeah.
that started in May where it was like, this is the second to last choir banquet, or this is the second to last, spring concert, or this is the last variety show. And waterworks. So there's a little aspect of the emotional draw that is slowing me down in terms of, I really want to be present for my kids, but I really want to work. So we're a little over halfway through the year now, and I'm at this place where I'm like, okay, I said I wanted to really, really focus on work, but I think I need to put the brakes on just a little bit. I actually did take a pause in the middle of a 2-part podcast episode. I released only one podcast episode this year so far because I just don't want to put it out if I'm not ready and feel good about what I'm putting out, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, lots of things are going on. And so I've been pretty quiet, which is also why I'm really excited to talk to you because I haven't been socializing much because I've been just trying to keep my head above water a little bit. So, and not a lot of people know that that's happening unless you talk to me on a weekly basis. So, but yeah.
You mentioned about 12 things, and I
I
could
know.
comment on any of them. Do any of them feel particularly alive for you? Do you not have the opportunity to talk about a certain facet of your life or a role that you're evolving into or something that you're just so stoked to become or do, and you're like, Joel, finally, we can talk about this? Anything from that buffet of things you just offered up that you want to drill in on?
This is crazy, and this is gonna be completely left of center
Do it.
when I bring it up because I mentioned this before we started recording. I have been thinking about retirement in a way that I've never been thinking about it before. And I'm doing this because, okay, so first things first, my husband has always had this goal to retire as close to 50 as possible. And we're 46 right now. So that's not too far off. Um, it doesn't even seem real because we still haven't paid a college bill or anything like that. But him talking about that a little bit made me think about, what is all this work for? I had some people that I interact with through all my various work projects talking about retirement and almost using it as almost feeling shame about it. Like, oh, I'm
Hmm.
retiring and then I don't I don't want to feel like I'm not doing anything. Like I need to find new purpose. But there's like as if there's a negative connotation to retirement. And I'm like, isn't that what we're working toward?
Yeah.
Is it to be able to, like, do the work so that we can enjoy life and not be focused on work? And I think the
Not be focused
defining
on making money,
money,
maybe
yes,
not work, because people's version of work is very different. But yeah, I
exactly.
know what you're saying.
And, I went to, Las Vegas with a bunch of my college friends who some of us haven't all of us that were there on the trip, we hadn't been together in maybe 14 years, and we're all in our mid-40s, and we're all talking about, you know, all the older people stuff. But retirement was a conversation, and I started thinking about the fact that as much as I love to work, the idea of my husband being in retirement and going golfing every day and me just like working like crazy, I don't know if I'd like that. I think I would be resentful. And so for the first time in my life, I've always been the person that I'm like, I'm just going to work till I die. And for the first time, I feel like I don't want that anymore.
Hmm.
And it's been almost I almost was gonna say like my second, you know, midlife crisis, but it's not. It's really giving me some pause to think about what retirement looks like for me because it was just never an idea. It was not something to think about.
So have you
So
made some thoughts about it? Do you have even a fuzzy vision of a day in the life or a week in the life of retired April?
I don't know yet. I do think that some aspects of my work I would potentially stop doing, but I also feel like if I cut everything, I would feel like I have no purpose, right? I not truly enjoy. And so I was trying to figure out what would be the most fun aspects of the work that I'm doing. And at this moment, the things that light me up the most are the online community that I run and then also the podcast, even though it's on a little bit of a hiatus. But it's very interesting that, the work that I'm most excited about is kind of like being put on a shelf. And I'm like, that's the stuff that I need to be prioritizing. And so, yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to make that work. And my work has always, I've had the fortunate opportunity to, really do work that I enjoy. And so it's just making sure that when it comes down to it, is that rest, whatever that rest looks like, I'll just have to swap it out for the other work that I'm doing that is also fun. So I love everything I do. I love all the work that I do, but I'm also like, I can't rest like this. Definitely
Hmm.
not. So I have to figure out, if I want to travel, if I want to do all those things, it just has to be replaced at some point. So maybe I'm in a little bit denial.
I don't know about
But
that.
it's a really interesting concept that I need to sit with a little bit more. But what are your thoughts on retirement, by the way? Because I I need help making decisions. It's like I love hearing other people's perspectives on this, and we're kind of around the same-ish age, and
Yeah, I'm 46.
yeah. So I think yeah. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I joke with people that I've been semi-retired for 14 years, which is not really a joke. I mean, that word retirement isn't the right word for me. The
Mhm,
fact that I don't work full time and haven't for 14 years ever since I quit my corporate gig, that's been very intentional. And fortunately, super fortunately, Melinda has supported me through all that. And
mhm,
she's been pulling the financial weight in our family significantly. I haven't contributed much in that way. So I think about repurposing. That's what I've done. We have the same amount of time every day, and as my children have aged, my boys are a little bit younger than Justin and Ryan. Grant's
mhm,
15, Clark's 12. But as they've gotten older, my role and responsibility towards them has shifted.
mhm,
Back in 2012, when I just quit corporate America, it looked very different. I was a part-time papa, and I was a part-time neighbor, and I was a part-time a number of things. So it's weird that we even have to use that language, like
yeah,
part-time. That's a very work-like framing to things, or the word retirement means there's that juxtaposition. There's that contrast between there was work me and income generating me, and now there's not. Now I'm about other things. So for me, I have just tried to figure out where can I be of value to others? Where can I find fulfillment? And how can I express myself in ways that feel true and good and hopefully are somewhat socially acceptable? Uh, somewhat, because I do a lot of really weird stuff. I won't,
but that's
uh,
what we all love about you. It's, like,
thank
super
you.
fun, and it's yes. I love
I,
it.
do I say, yeah, I say this. I was out for a walk this afternoon, barefoot, bare
As always.
chested, and basically wearing the male equivalent of a Speedo, but like swim trunks. It's called Kaniki, and it has these tiny little holes, like these microscopic holes that allow ultraviolet light to penetrate through them. So you actually get some sunlight on your skin. It's essentially an optical illusion. I'm basically walking around naked in my neighborhood.
I love it.
uh, and I've done this maybe 10 times or so.
Mhm.
Over the summer, I just got these to get 2 Knickys. Someone called the cops on me.
Oh my g
I was walking up a side street, and there were 2 police officers on the side of the street waiting for I could tell that they were waiting for me, and I walked up to them, I was like, "Hey, what's up?" 'Cause from my perspective, I'm like, "I'm just the weirdo in the neighborhood, essentially walking around naked, but I'm not naked. I'm not naked. You can't see my junk. I'm wearing something." And it's that kind of thing where um, would I if work Joel was still there, like if I had a reputation that required me to make money, especially around the neighborhood or in the community, I don't know if I would do something like that. So I think there is what's the version of you that doesn't care about money or the reputation associated with your need or desire to make money? I live a very different life as a result of that. And that weird story that I just shared is just one instance of that.
I love that, though, because I don't we all wanna do that, but we all have to keep up some sort of perception depending on what our goals are, right? I do feel like similar to you, Tim, my husband, he is the one that carries the financial weight. Not that I'm not contributing anything, but we talk a lot about, you know, I haven't been in working for somebody else, another organization, right, since 2015. And even though I've had my own business, I've had uh, a lot of flexibility in terms of what I am in my business is investing in,
Mm.
and the type of work that I have been doing. And I got to, do an entire 2-year improv program, compliments of the cheerful mind, for a good reason. This is very important to the work that I do now. But I always look at fun things that create fun experiences because I am helping people live their lives with more, d- you know, intention and play and all of that. Um, but I think that if money were more of a factor, it would definitely change the type of work that I did, the way that because I do feel like there's a lot because of I'm a multi-potentialite, right? I could very easily jump it back into a finance job because I like working with spreadsheets, or I could go back into engineering. I could look at, operations types of roles, different things like that. But that wouldn't necessarily light me up as much as the work that I'm doing, which is probably a little bit of everything. Um, but it is interesting because you were mentioning before this whole idea of, yeah, part-time dad, part-time. I can't even look at it as part-time. I'm a full-time parent with a full-time business that
Hmm.
has a whole bunch of different aspects where I have to basically work full-time. And, um, our friend James Todd, you know James, right?
Oh, yeah.
He,
I was
uh,
texting with him
he
earlier
always
today.
talks of he
I'm going to
always
talk to him
talks about
tomorrow.
yeah, tell him I said hi. He would always be like, "April's got, like, 15 jobs," which is kinda true. Which is why I always struggle with, like, "Oh my god, I'm doing too much." And then I'll be in denial for, like, 5 or 6 months and then be like, "Okay, I gotta set some boundaries and set some rules," and that's just really the thing that I struggle with the most is the thing that I help people with. But I do feel like the type of work that I do, I can approach it with so much more love and care and passion because the money is not what's driving me. Which is why I still feel like there's going to be an aspect of the work that I'm doing once Tim has retired that I'll continue to upkeep, but I really have to get realistic with myself in terms of the level of overwhelm in terms of the workload that I take on and what I'm always trying to fight having a balance with my personal life and my professional life. And I'm going to have to lean into that even more when I see that my husband can do a lot of these like personal passions and his priorities shift a little bit away from, working the usual 9 to 5, and, I'm gonna have to rewire my brain to do that as well for
Mhm.
myself because there's only so much time in the day.
I'm realizing that you're one of the few friends that I actually talk about business and work stuff with because I don't really have anything that most people conventionally view as work for the last decade plus. So on the input side, I'm like, I don't really have much to offer here. But as a result of that, because my life is so focused on other things, I don't often ask my friends or talk about, tell me about your business and your work and what's going on and how's your role shifting and oh, what about that one client? And that's one thing that I enjoy about you is you remind me because it's important to you and you're trying to do a number of things. I'm like, it's what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that I really like who you are, and I'm really excited about who you can become.
Mhm.
Like, if we were to have conversations, there's nothing wrong with the things that we are talking about now or that we have talked about in the past, but 50-year-old April, like retired or not, whatever it is, your boys have launched. Maybe you're semi-retired or Tim is retired or whatever it is. Like, I'm just now getting super curious without trying to live in the future. I'm just trying to stay in the present.
I
Like,
know.
what? Yeah, I'm just really excited to see what future you becomes.
I know.
I have some thoughts. I have those little hints, but obviously it's up to you, not me.
I have some bucket list things that I know that I can't do right now that I would just if I had more time, I would seek them out. And I don't know what I'm waiting for. I should just do them now. But I think I'm also waiting for my kids to not be so dependent on me. But I also know that there's going to be an emotional side to them leaving that I'm like, okay, I
Mm,
just need to get over that. But then, you don't know what happens after that. I know that my parents are getting older and they're doing great and everything, but you never know. So it's like trying to decide, do I jump into it now or do I not? Or do I wait until later? It's always a hard discussion or hard decision point to make.
are
Uh,
you operating as if you'll live to be 70, 80, 90 years old? when you make your plans and do your things? Like, what kind of time scale are you working on here?
I am going to share something very morbid, but I think about dying, like, almost every day.
Me
Like, if
too.
I'm
It's one of my
if
favorite
I'm
things to
not
think
gonna
about.
if I'm not gonna be alive tomorrow, did I leave everything? And this is crazy 'cause the neuroticism of my brain is like, "Oh my gosh, if I die, is Tim gonna be able to find the, Amazon Subscribe and Save and, like, cancel all the subscriptions?" Because I don't want him to get, like, a hit with $1,000, like, "Here are the 60 things that you do in rotation," and I have my little, uh, intricate ways of, like, I'm gonna just, you know, set a set so I can get the discounts, but only do, like, as a small order as possible so that I can cycle through it. I don't like doing big orders. There's no automation. It's just, like, I have all these subscriptions in place so that I can remember the things that I would need, but there's no way that Tim would know, and I'm like, "Oh gosh, all of these subscriptions, will he even know?" Because I handle all the day-to-day stuff, all the bills, all the random things that we buy, and I put time into that, and so if I were to not be alive tomorrow, how would he know? And so I feel like I spend a lot of my time trying to put processes in place that if I were to not be alive tomorrow, everybody who I love and care about would be okay.
Hmm.
And they wouldn't be burdened with all the things on my to-do list that I am burdened with every day. So that's very interesting. But I think also from the perspective of, am I doing the things that I want to do for now? And sometimes it is torturing myself with work that I might not want to do. Like I've got a box of papers from the last like 6 years that I need to sort through and get rid of some, but it's just sitting there.
Clearly,
Like
you don't
I
need to. I would use
I
a
don't
different
need
word if
to,
it's
but it's
been
like
there
I
for
also
6
don't want to
years.
leave this for somebody else. It's
Yeah.
like I just want everything to be in order.
Well, okay,
I'm
this is
picky.
easy for me to say, right? Because here I am swimming in free time, and you're like, Joel, I don't know how I even carved an hour out to talk to you today.
No.
Thank you, by the way. Super cool of you to do that. For you, for me, for
I will
us.
always I will always let me say this before you go into
Yeah,
what you were
yeah,
gonna
go for
say.
it.
One of the things that I admire most about you, and maybe envy a little bit, is that maybe there's only like one or two other friends that do what you do, but I'm always so in awe that you can do this. But you have whatever your process is for keeping up with the people that you care about, and I'm assuming because you reach out to me every so often. And it's a like I don't there's no random there's a I don't know what your process is, and you might want to share it because I'm so curious.
Yeah, I'm
But
happy to talk about
every
it.
so often I'll get a text from you, and every time my like heart melts. I'm like, "Oh my gosh. Like somebody is thinking about me in the middle of like the chaos of my life." And just to tell me that I'm an amazing human being, or some of them are just like just thinking of you, or
Just the
they're
heart emoji and the hug emoji,
yeah,
nothing
but
else.
others can also be, some of them are a little bit more catered, and I know that it's not just a copy and paste.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I can only do that with a small subset of people, and I know you are super connected. I know that you're a super connector. And so if you're doing that with me, I don't know how many people you're doing this with. So you should tell me so that I can know how special I am. I'm just kidding.
You are
But
super special, and there are other really special people in my life. This is why
of
my life
course.
is so amazing, and I don't say that to brag or boast, like, I just
Yeah.
genuinely feel that way, and I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for it. I know some of the most amazing humans that humanity has ever created.
Mhm.
And so I want them to know constantly, consistently, even if it feels random to them. Yes, I have systems and processes in place
Yeah.
for various people and various types of relationships where various communication mediums and like for some people, it's like I will only text back and forth 5 times before I'm like, okay, all this texting needs to stop. We need to talk. I don't want this to be like we just send each other texts and we don't actually get on Zoom or talk on the phone. So yes, I have certain things, certain triggers that kick off. But did you want to say more before I comment on death and dying? Because I want to.
Yes. So I'm one of these people that really, really struggles with remembering people's birthdays, and, it's like I'll learn it either after the fact because I see something on the rare instances that I go onto Facebook. I'm like, "Oh, shoot, I need to put it in my calendar," because if you're not on my calendar, it's like out of sight, out of mind, and so I just appreciate that you have systems and processes in place to, like, make me feel special, um, even if there's, like you do that for 400 people, I'm just honored to be one of the 400 people, but I would love to even take an ounce of your process and figure out a way to implement it in mine because I feel like I juggle so much that that's just one process I have not been able to master. But
Yeah.
anyways, go on, talk about dying.
Okay, so the box that's below you that's been sitting there for 6 years waiting for your attention, you're probably familiar with Swedish death cleaning and other yeah, you're familiar with that concept?
Maybe you can
Sort of,
you can
kinda?
tell everybody who doesn't know about it about it.
Okay, well, I don't even know how much I know about it. I do know the core concept, which is, hey, clean up your shit while you're still alive so that when you die, people don't have to deal with a whole bunch of the physical stuff that you
Yeah.
have brought into the world or managed or mismanaged.
Yes.
I mean, that's the basics of it
Yes.
from the way that
That
I
that
understand.
is
And I
like the
know
goal in life.
there's some people who have probably done it already who are like, "Oh, Joel, you're so naive. You don't understand this at all." That's probably true. My and the emotional piece, that is the hardest part for a lot of people. Really easy for me because although I'm a very loving, compassionate person, I don't know how I'm simultaneously unsentimental. Like, I am not sentimental about pretty much any object, digital or physical.
Mhm.
So for me, that kind of stuff is really easy. I tend to not accumulate, but if I do, letting go of something is very easy. There's generally not emotional attachment to it. Um, the other part, though, the digital piece, your 60 Amazon subscribe and save or whatever it is that you're juggling, and only you know your system and the timing and the reminders on your calendar and when you got to go in there and change the drop down and how that ripples out. Yeah, all that. I'm almost done. I started about a year ago. It's taken longer than I thought, but I have created a digital will, like a digital estate plan, where
Mhm.
it's my online life. There are websites that are, say, shopping based, even though I don't do much shopping. There's even social media sites, which I haven't used in forever. My brother and sister in law are in charge. They know there's documents, they understand. Here's how you log in to all the places. Here's what I'd like you to do with them, assuming that, say, Melinda, I mean, my wife, doesn't have something to say. And I've given, like, if Melinda wants to do something different with this set and this set, that's cool. Like, listen to her. Otherwise, like, take over. You know, the digital version of me that will go on, even if when I'm physically dead, I have more or less taken plans to tell people, hey, I just died. And there's more than just the physical life that needs to be addressed. There's a whole bunch of digital stuff. So, again, if you ever want to talk about a system or a process when it comes to like digital you and what happens after biological you dies, there's a lot to think about and there's a lot to do. But maybe some of that angst, my word, not yours, that you're feeling around it, it might not be that hard to remove that from your life and to give a gift to everyone who is still alive whenever you happen to die.
For sure. And I think that, there's that aspect of I think I spent a lot of time making things very difficult for myself that I'm now trying to fix. So here's an example. When Tim and I started dating, we both had our respective uh, personalized uh, URLs, right? That was a fancy thing in the early 2000s, like to have your own website. And so um, we would create all these, or I at least would create all these catch-all accounts for anything that I engaged with in terms of shopping. It would be like um, Amazon at myurl.com and the bank at myurl.com. All of these things. So the companies that I've used to host all of my URLs and all of that stuff, their processes change. And then I think this was last year, uh, I wanted to stop paying for email, uh, having my email through this company because it was just not worth paying. Did not realize that I would lose all of these forwarded or these alias email addresses, and I frantically had to go through my brain and say, "What email addresses do I have?" Had no record. So I still may be not getting emails that I am supposed to be getting because I was consolidating, but I'm like, "You know what? I need to stop making everything so complicated." So I feel like that I dug myself a hole that I'm now trying to get out of, and trying to make things as simple as possible. So that's one thing in terms of the digital space, but I think there's also the sheer volume of just having time to sit and think. One of the things that I've been realizing about myself is that I struggle, and maybe this is just being a parent with kids still at home. I struggle with finding time for deep work. And a lot of what I want to do requires deep, uninterrupted work. So that's something that again, I think that the theme for me is simplification, having less ties to certain things. And some of it is even, just clean up this box just to know that there's no check sitting in there for hundreds of dollars that I forgot to, you know, deposit.
You only had 180 days from issue date anyway, so
I know.
it's too late.
Yeah.
Even if it's there, it's too late.
Yeah. So
What's simple for you? What's uncomplicated? What are the things that you just find a sense of ease with?
the things I don't have to make decisions on. I think that the biggest gift that people can give me in this stage of my life is to make decisions for me. I
Hmm.
have gotten very non-committal to things, and when you met me, I was very much a planner. Like, these are the things that I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to come to Minneapolis and like, yeah, Joel, let's meet at a Target and let's just have a coffee. Like that
That
was
was fun.
scheduled in. There was no like, hey Joel, I'm going to be in town tomorrow. Are you around? I would never do that because I would always plan ahead. Most of the trips that I do now, I just don't plan. All of the conferences that I have been going to the last few years, I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I just want to plan less. So I think I'm embracing that in this phase of life. But when I don't have to make decisions and I'm able to gift, or somebody's able to gift the, "Hey, I have it handled for you, just show up." Because I don't
Mhm.
think that I did that for most of my life. I have always been the person that's like, everybody's leaning on, "What are we doing next, April? What are we doing next?" And I'm like, "I have a plan, let's go." And I think I'm tired of doing that. So in my social life, I have very much been, what do you guys want to do? I've got, that we have a boat that we take out on our lake here, not Lake Michigan, but this small chain of lakes near our lake house. And I always want to invite people over. But in the first year, I was like, all right, let's find the groups of people who I think would get along and that we can fit, up to 15 people on the boat. And, I have to curate this experience. And this is the time that we're going to meet. And this is what I need to tell them to bring and all of this stuff. We're now in year 5 or 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is our 6th summer.
Mhm.
And the weather in Chicago has been very, very bad this summer. So a lot of times it's even had to be canceled. But I'm like, are you free on Saturday? Do you want to get on the boat? It is very last minute now. And if people are coming into town, I can plan around that. But other than that, it's like I don't want to have, when I don't have anything on my calendar, life is better. I don't know. So I'm enjoying space for sure.
Hmm. I just realized as you were talking, I think about you as someone who's very goal oriented.
Hmm.
Is that still true?
I do. I think that my goals are now shifting to, what can I not do?
Okay.
Which is weird because then I feel like when people ask me, how are you doing? How's everything going? I'm not typically, the goals that I'm chasing are more around, even more so around balance than they were in years past. I don't know if I told you, but I got a new tattoo that I have
Oh,
on my right hip, and it's all of my tattoos, you see people who are listening, you can't see this, but I have 4 of my core values tattooed on my arms, and those are fun, accomplishment, connection, and authenticity. I realized in my planning process last year, because I run annual planning retreats every year, and in my process of thinking about what is 2026 for me, I realized that I wrote a book about work-life balance, and I was resisting taking on the value of balance, partially because of the fact that it's a trigger word for some people.
Mhm.
But for me, balance really symbolizes that, like, I can be very busy, but I can be at peace being very busy. But it's a very fine line
Hmm.
to get to that feeling, right? Like, I I am definitely a dopamine chaser, and I have to actively force myself to not chase dopamine, because I will get myself to the verge of burnout if I do that. And so I'm always fighting the overachiever version of myself just so that I can feel like, oh, I got to get, you know, a good night's sleep last night and not feel like I woke up and was like, go, 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 go. I am trying to do every task on my long, lengthy daily to do list in this like very flowy and chill way, because it's like there's always gonna be spillover into tomorrow. What can I actually do today and just at least feel good about the work that I did and not feel like I wasted the day. Um, so I have been, ever since I got the tattoo about 2 months ago, it's August right now as we're talking, and I got it in June, and it's an image. I'll have to share with you a picture, but I'll explain for everybody who's listening. It's an image of this woman who is doing this arabesque kind of pose. So she looks very, very graceful. This is kind of a nod to my cheerleader roots. She's basically on one leg. She's sticking her leg back. She's wearing this really spunky, like leather, like bodice situation, and then she's wearing gym shoes. She's balancing on the word balance, but the second A in particular. And the second A is the symbol delta, which in mathematics stands for change, right? And so I always have talked about how balance looks different for everyone. You have to create your own definition. It evolves as you grow, it changes as situations around you change. And she's balancing on her tippy toe in her cute little sneakers on this A. And it's that delicate fine line trying to achieve that. It's I don't wanna say it's difficult, but in my life, I feel like it is very easy for me to get thrown off, and not that when you fall down or if you were to fall off, then it's a failure, but it's having that feeling of peace is very hard when you're somebody who's super driven, but also wants and craves ease. And so she's balancing on the word balance, and it's just a daily reminder for me, like, I don't like how I feel when I'm in this go, go, go situation all the time. I wanna be more present in the moment, but I still wanna accomplish, right? But I also need to prioritize rest. So it's everything that represents who I am. It's like I am a high achiever, but I like to work hard and I like to play hard. I like math and science, I like performance and theater and music. It's it shows all those different facets of me, but it also reminds me to stay grounded in what's most important. And so, at least in this phase of my life right now, it's like, how do I balance like being an amazing, amazing mom, but also putting out quality work that I am passionate about, you know? And so that's part of what I'm trying to juggle right now because I have so many interests, as
Mhm.
all multi potentialites do. And I will say that this year in particular is probably the most successful financially um, year of the years that I've had the cheerful mind since, 2015. This is the most profitable year that I've had. And so it's like, okay, great. I am like, I've got the financial stability, but now I have to rebalance, how much work am I putting out and making sure that everything stays feeling as good as it is without letting my personal life feel depleted, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So I don't know how we got there, but that's the answer to
Doesn't
whatever
matter.
you asked me at some point.
I have two observations.
Yes.
One, I'm proud that you still have a book 10 years later that you are proud of, that you can say this is still worthwhile. I contrast that with the book that I wrote 12 years ago, which I'm not even going to name because I'm embarrassed by it. And I
Oh,
removed it from sale and all places on the internet except for Barnes and Noble. I cannot figure out how to get it off of there. I got an email from them 2 days ago. They're like, Joel, we're sending you $3.24. Like, oh, cool. So somebody in the last decade has bought my book. But yeah, I'm a little bit embarrassed at what I used to create and what I used to do, and I'm really
mm.
happy that you, even as you've evolved, there are things that you can still look back and be like, "That was really cool. I'm glad that I did that."
Now I want to know what this book is because I feel like you've never
Oh,
even talked
jeez.
about
It's
it.
called experience curating. It's about spreadsheets and an organizational framework of figuring out the key moments in your life and how you can make them valuable to future you and everybody else. I'm not even reading off of the back cover. Like I'm
Wait, but
intentionally
why are you embarrassed about that?
well, there's two reasons. The first one is what the book represents is my ego. I
Okay.
wrote that book in the last half of 2013 with a goal of being some kind of fancy pants author because at that point in my entrepreneurial life, that was the template. Like write a book, become a public speaker, then be a professional fancy pants. I was like, cool. I think I could probably do that. The book was so painful to write. I'm not a writer. I don't like writing. And the fact that I subjected myself to that and subjected other people to, which was not a very good book. I mean, a couple people are like, yeah, that's cool. I learned something, but I could probably put on one hand how many people took action based on reading experience curating. So it was essentially a waste of time and misplaced time in that I could have been doing things that I was good at, that was fulfilling for me, that was useful to other people. And instead, my ego was like, write a book, be a public speaker. And I did that. Like I went to South by Southwest in 2015. I had a talk about my book there and the audience was so effing bored, April. Like, as I'm doing it, I'm trying to like bring this pizzazz, the energy. I'm like, I will transfer my enthusiasm for curating and spreadsheets to you now through the power of public speaking. And everybody was just sitting back with their arms crossed, like, whatever, dude. I don't have anywhere better to be, which is the only reason why I'm still sitting here listening to you
Oh, I don't
talk.
know about that. And it is funny because I do feel like, when people want to write books, there's that aspect of like, I have something important to say and I want to get it out on paper. We all know that books are, a great vehicle to, you know, all the other things that come with as a,
Yeah,
content creator in a business. Um, also feel like the book process for me was grueling. Um, and I mean, my process was difficult because not only was I trying to write a book, but I was trying to learn how to be a life coach. I was trying to start a business. I was trying to get my bearings of like who my identity was going to be or what my identity was going to be after having worked in so many different industries for years. Like there was a lot of stuff going on that made that process very, very difficult. And I'm an engineer. I'm not a author or I'm not a writer either, even though I do enjoy some aspects of writing. But so I get that. But sometimes I also feel like we have to go through that in order to really make the meaningful choices that we needed to make later in life. Right.
fair.
I grapple with
Yes.
the idea of like, do I write another book? And this whole and I kind of shifted into podcast format because I do like talking. Um, the editing piece I have to navigate. It goes into my perfectionist
Yeah.
tendencies a little bit too much, um, which is why that's that's been a challenge, but
I'm glad you handed that off to someone else because I still
well,
edit this show and
no,
I
I
let
still edit my podcast.
oh, you still okay.
It's the social media stuff
Oh,
that I
got it.
don't edit
That's
anymore. So
okay.
I let go of one thing. So,
All right.
um, but the aspect of the podcast, I'm really really proud of what I'm putting out. But the entire concept was really based on this idea of could I tell people stories of accomplishment? Because I don't need to talk about myself anymore. But and it's not all about me, right? My flavor of accomplishment is very different from everybody else's. But can we learn from each other? And that's the next legacy that I want to leave behind because storytelling is something that you can't replace with AI. You can't, in it what we need more than ever in the age of our technology is that connection, and can we tell a story that is so unique to somebody but can create this wealth of learning from any aspect for generations to come. And that's kind of what I want to do. But I am definitely grappling with that idea of, oh my gosh, do I want to go through the grueling process of editing a book and putting it together and promoting it? That's the worst part of it
Hmm.
all. Um, is it even worth it? Can I just put something out that I'm super passionate about and make sure that I'm talking about it, but do it in a way that feels comfortable to me, not tie myself to the outcome? I mean, and that is part of what I feel accomplishment is, right? Like, can you enjoy the journey and like know that you're making choices on how something, what the outcome of something is, like from the inside and not what everybody else is expecting you to do? That's, yeah. So those are the answers that I'm trying to gather in this phase of my life. But
Well, the observation I was going to make a few minutes ago, I'm feeling even more acutely. Your talking to smiling ratio is perhaps higher than any other person I know. You seem like you are constantly on the verge of a grin or a smile almost all the time I'm talking to you, even when you're deep or reflective, even when you're like self critical. Like the corners of your mouth are just ever so slightly tipping up. And I love that. Like the energy that you're giving. I hope you give this in other places and other times because this is one of the reasons why I enjoy you so much is like, yeah, I've never thought about the concept of like smiling to talking ratio, but you are on the cusp of positive vibes or like grin or a smile all the time. And I really like that about you.
oh, Joel, thank you. It's
Yeah.
like very hard to like not say like, ah, no, you're just
So you're smiling while you're doing that.
I know. And not to say that I don't have my bad days.
Of
We
course.
can we can have a offline conversation about like
Yeah.
all of my
We're not
woes,
happiness
and just
robots.
I would love to see if I still have a smile to talk ratio in those moments. We'll have to
Mm,
test that out
okay.
sometime. But I think it would be one of those, like, uh, those smiles where I don't know what the word is that I'm thinking about right now, where I'm kind of being sarcastic, where it's like, "Oh, yeah, but I love it. I love it so much." And, I'm still smiling even though I'm in pain or something. I don't know. I thought it would be interesting.
Oh man, I want to talk about more, but we probably
I
shouldn't because then I'm going to take you into time that you don't have right now. So
You can
let
always
me,
have me back, and we can do surprise version 2 down the road after
yes.
you've done a number of episodes and let other people share their
I
amazing.
mean, I don't mind. I had back to back episodes with my buddy Justin Baker, and I'm only 8 episodes, at least at this moment, into it. So this is my podcast. I get to do whatever the heck I want. I get to
I
talk
know.
with whomever the heck I want, whenever the heck I want, as often as I want, for as long as we both have available. So,
I
um,
love it. Well,
is there,
pencil me in. We can do, like, a check-in at some
okay.
point and see how
But is
things.
there anything floating that we should capture right now in a few minutes before I say, now, April, please tell us all where we can find your amazing list online or offline?
Yeah.
Before
I
we get
mean,
there, anywhere else?
let's let's just kinda recap all the different topics that we discussed. So,
Ooh,
we talked about at the very beginning, I can't even remember. I know we talked about death. We talked about balance. We talked about your awesome process for following up with people, book that you don't want people to read.
This is all stuff that I talked about. What about the stuff that you talked about?
What did I talk about? You were listening. I was just blabbing. So I will tell you when I do public speaking, a lot of times I have a framework of what I'm going to say, but I black out. So that may have happened during this
Yeah.
conversation. Um,
I remember
I will
you,
just
yeah, telling stories about your evolution. We started with the 12 different things that you have either started or continued or expanded into in 2026. You're leaning into work and business
retirement.
and retirements. Uh huh. And then I may have blacked out a little bit too. And
Yeah.
who knows what happened?
But
Good thing
aren't those the
for
best
us.
conversations sometimes? Like the ones where it's just in so much flow, you don't even know. We're going to have to both listen back to this episode.
Well,
And
I will be editing this, so it'll be really easy for me to do. And then you'll get the benefit after my 5 hours of over meticulous work. I hear you when you talk about the editing. I'll say one more thing. The tools that we have available now, I started podcasting in 2012, and
Mhm.
I would kill for some of the things that I can do now 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And even though that I have the tools, Auphonic is one of them where I'll upload it and you're like, select, do you want to automatically remove silences, coughs, filler words, insert silences? And I'm like, cool, cool, cool. And then it does its thing. It auto levels and normalizes the volume. And I listen to it back. I'm like, no, 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 no. Hold on, Auphonic. There was that one point where April laughed and it was so delightful, but you cut off the first half a second of it. It hit your algorithm like, do not do that. Do not deprive the world of April's half a second laugh. Put that back. And that's the kind of shit that I'm doing when I could just handcraft it like I used to do. And I think, you know what? For our episode, that's what I'm gonna do. This is gonna be a handcrafted episode where I'm not gonna go back and be like, look, all these delightful tool sets that I have doing all these things. Like, I'm just going to do it the Joel Zaslofsky way, fully and own it, and be the kind of anal and meticulous guy that I am. And hopefully that will show up in the post production for everyone.
I love it. I love it. I'm making more work for you.
No, I made that for myself.
Yes. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I can't
Okay.
wait to hear it. And I hope
Mhm.
that everybody who has listened had so much fun with all of the random tangents that we went through today.
Yes. Okay. So when people want more from you, where are they going, online or offline?
Okay. So online or offline? Online, um, I'm going to share my social media s- handles and all that stuff. Obviously, you can find me at The Cheerful Mind. Mostly, if you can find me on LinkedIn or Instagram. Instagram is like my number one platform. I have been really putting out some fun content, sharing things about my life and just the amazing things that I'm doing. And as an opportunity to try to be more visible because I know that I'm doing a lot of amazing things and I struggle with sharing them. So I've been
Can I get
I've
a
been
hallelujah?
I know I've been really proud of what I've been putting out. My my marketing girl, her name is Bianca. She is just amazing and it couldn't be a better partnership. Like we totally get each other and we have the same type of uh energy and enthusiasm. She just has the skills that I don't have time to do. So I would love for people to follow me on social media. Those are the things that I've been really pouring my heart and soul into. I do have a website that I need to update. But if you want to check that out, it's thecheerfulmind.com. Um, and yeah, if you're in the Chicago area, that's where I live. So come hang out. I'll take you out on my boat after we get to know each other a little bit.
Right. Right. Prerequisites for that invitation.
Yes, yes. Let's
Yes.
just make sure that we can have a fun surprise conversation.
Yes.
No, but I mean, I love all different types of people, and yeah. But you can find me on the interwebs, and we can engage in conversation. But yeah,
Groovy. This was a delightful, friend.
this
Thank you for
was
doing
so
this with me.
fun. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy that we had the time to do this. I really, truly, truly needed it for my soul.
remember April's invitation to connect on her website and social media. Links are in the show notes, and you'll find those, takeaways, and a transcript at joelzaslofsky.com/SMJ009. Did you appreciate this episode, or maybe the show in general? If so, share it today with one friend who needs to hear it or would benefit from it. I'll be back with you again to sling stories, facilitate connections, and whip up experiments to help you make friends with people, possibilities, and ideas.